Hey guys, this is the Intex 12-foot by 30-inch pool, and this video is going to be all about the setup process. So I've already got this kind of sand circle here from an old pool. It was a 24-footer. The 12-footer is obviously going to take up a lot less space. So the most important thing is to just have a level area on the ground. You can actually put this right on the grass. It's going to kill the grass, of course, but you just want a level spot to put this on with nothing sharp that's going to puncture the liner. So here's essentially what the pool looks like. It's a single structural liner, and there is a PVC frame that goes around the outside and some legs that come down, some feet at the bottom, and then the strap that goes around the whole thing. So I've got the box all emptied out here. You've got your fittings for your filtration system, your instructions, warning labels. You've got the feet that go on the bottom of the legs, all of the T-fittings right here. There's 2 bags. So these round pipes are the horizontal members, and then inside them are these oval-shaped members, which are the vertical legs. And then lastly, the liner right here. Now, some pools are gonna have other parts that some don't. So for instance, ground cloths are included on some of the larger models. So the 10, 12, and 13-foot pools do not have ground cloths, but that's always something that you can buy as well if you want to just add some additional protection for your liner. I'll leave some links in the description below for that. Now, there's a couple things you need to know about the location where you set it up. It needs to be absolutely flat and level. The surface should be compacted. Don't set it up on a balcony or platform. It's not going to be able to hold the weight. You need to make sure you have 4 feet of space all around the pool to make sure kids can't gain access to it. All outlets need to be a minimum of 6 feet away from the pool, and anything within 20 feet needs to be on a GFCI. So that's important to prevent electrocution. And guys, you really do need to make sure that you fence in this pool. I personally know someone in my neighborhood, my previous neighborhood, who had their toddler drown because they got in the pool. It was in the middle of winter, and it was absolutely tragic. So definitely take that seriously. Really make sure you have your pool fenced in to prevent that from happening. All right, once you've prepped the ground area, now it's time to simply spread out the liner. Now, the orientation of the pool is basically going to depend on the inlet and outlet ports. So you just want to rotate the liner so you have those 2 ports located where you're going to have your filter set up. Now, the filter is mostly going to depend on where you have power located. So I actually have some underground power right here. I do need to repair this. It's been kind of dilapidated for a while now. But I basically want to have the filter on this side of the pool so I can connect it to the power over here. So I'm just gonna pull the liner out and kind of let the sun warm it up and soften it up a little bit. The next step is to go around the entire perimeter and install the top frame. So that consists of running 1 round pole through the sleeve, another round pole through the other sleeve, and connecting the 2 with these T connectors. So you wanna start at 1 spot and then go all the way around, connecting the poles with the T connectors until you get all the way back to the start. So the poles slide right into this top pocket at the top of the pool. And then you take one of these T brackets, pop it on one side, pop it on the other, and then continue on. Okay, so once you have all the poles and T connectors in place, the last connection is gonna be a little tricky. So it's gonna be really tight, but one thing you can do is kind of lift it up, get it in place, and then kind of force it down until it slips in. And then once it's in place, you can just go around and check and make sure all the joints are centered in the opening of the liners. All right, the next step is installing the vertical legs. You wanna take the leg bottom plate, place that on the bottom of the leg. So it will just go around the entire pool, adding the legs and standing the pool up. All right, so once you have the legs kind of in place, then you just go around, make sure they're vertical, fix the strap if you need to. And now the pool is all set, ready to start filling. All right, guys, so I was like a foot short with my hose, so I'm actually shooting the water up over the side. But I'm just getting started for now. You wanna start out with like an inch of water in the bottom. And what you can do is just kind of pull the sides to get the wrinkles out as the water starts to weigh down the bottom. You don't wanna wait too long because then the weight of the water will just be too much and you won't be able to get the wrinkles out. But if you see a wrinkle, you can even come in from the outside and just kind of pull it from here and pull that wrinkle out. Now, obviously we can't go too high just yet. That's the drain hole right there. You want to make sure the drain hole is plugged. It usually is. I mean, mine was by default. And obviously we want to get our filter set up and plugged into the hoses before we get too high here. All right, so I'm going to quickly go over connecting the filter. I know you might have a different one. This is the Intex sand filter. It's the 8-inch version. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it with sand. There's special sand for pools. I guess it's, you know, a certain grade of sand. So you want to make sure you have actual like pool filter sand. And so we're going to pour it right in here. We just got to make sure that this standoff stays centered in there as we pour it. So there's a minimum and maximum line on this pipe here. So I just need to add a little bit more. All right, so we can pop the cap back on. You want to make sure the O-ring is in place and there's no debris or anything. And we'll tighten the clamp here. All right, so this pipe right here is the inlet, but there's actually 2 inlets on the pool. So these are built into the pool, these fittings. It's basically like a port. It's kind of like this probably PVC kind of rubbery type of material here. So the pool actually comes with a Y splitter kit. And this is really important because it basically prevents kids from getting sucked and stuck on one of the inlets. So by having 2, it basically provides pressure relief. If someone goes up against one of them, it doesn't lock them to it. There's been a lot of drowning cases. So this is a really important safety feature to have on the inlet. So the pool actually has 2 of these fittings here, along with a T fitting and 2 tubes to hook it all up. So I'm going to take this fitting right here and put this in from the inside of the pool. So now the hose can go directly on top of this and then get clamped down. So really this fitting acts as like a gasket as well as a mounting flange. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 function. And then these clamps just go on top like this, and there's a little wing nut screw to hand tighten. So we'll do the same thing on the other port. And then you want to make sure you remember to put these on as well. So these strainers go right on the inside just like this. Now, one important thing is there's 2 screws for each side of this strainer. So right here and one on the other side. That's really important because you don't want kids unscrewing this and exposing the direct port. This standoff here provides pressure relief if someone goes up against it. So really important to make sure you secure that on so it can't be pulled off by kids. Then the 2 hoses get connected with this T-fitting. And then you grab the hose from the inlet from your pump and connect it to the other side of the T-fitting. Then the outlet fitting is gonna go right here. Again, this is gonna come in from the inside of the pool, just like this. And then this hose with the fitting that has the air jet air valve on the top is gonna go like this. You can see the arrow indicating the direction it should be installed. So that's gonna go over top just like this. And we'll get pipe clamps on this side as well as the hose here. All right, and that hose connects to the filter out port right here. And at this point, you just go ahead and continue filling the pool. You want to get it up to past that level right there before you can turn on your pump. Hey guys, so I'm here a couple days later. The pool is pretty much full. I'm a little bit below the outlet right there. That's just because my kids are like 3 years old, so they're not super tall. So I want to kind of go as low as I can for right now, but ideally you want to have the water level a little bit above that point right there. So I've got my filter running right now. So water is being sucked in through both of these ports right here, comes right through here, goes into the filter. This filter has a timer on it. So with a pool this size, because it's so small, I only need to actually run the filter for about 4 hours a day. So this is the SX925. I'm gonna do another video on this specific unit itself, kind of going more into detail here. You might have something different if you have a cartridge filter or something like that. You know, it'll be different. So the first time you start this up, you're gonna run it in backwash mode. So this paddle goes down, you spin this around, and water's actually gonna come out of this port right here. So you're technically gonna be like draining some of the water out, but that's just gonna kind of clean the sand medium before you start running, you know, water through it and dumping it back into the pool. So you want to just run that for a little bit until it starts to run clear, and then you can put it in regular filtration mode where it's going to go through the pump, through the sand medium, and then back through this hose back into your pool. Now, one thing the filter and the pool didn't come with is an additional hose for the drain. So that's something you want to keep in mind. That's going to be just kind of part of your regular maintenance to have to drain every once in a while. You're going to want to keep an eye on the pressure regulator. This is going to tell you when you need to backwash and kind of maintain the filter. But at this point, I'm basically ready to, you know, dive into the whole world of pool chemicals and pool maintenance and stuff like that. It's a whole other can of worms. But the pool is functional at this point. So, you know, the setup really wasn't that bad, and you can fill this with a regular garden hose. I'm actually on a well. So what I did is I just spent like 3 days. I would fill it up for like an hour or so, give the well pump a rest, come back, you know, a few hours later, turn it back on. So it really didn't take all that long. I would say in total, maybe 6 hours tops. Now, another thing to keep in mind is they do recommend taking this down in the winter, so that seems like kind of a pain. But other than that, the setup was really easy, and I really am looking forward to having this nice small pool that's big enough for my girls to learn how to swim and kind of, you know, play around in without being this huge monstrosity that I have to deal with. The other thing that's nice is it's so low that I can just step right in. You don't need a ladder or anything like that. All right, guys, so that's my setup review for this Intex 12-foot pool.